Hi, my name's Angela Hughes. I'm Director of Public Affairs for New England for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And tonight I'm interviewing Bill Marriott up here in Wolfeboro, New Hampshire. How are you doing, Bill?
Fine. Good to be here, Angela. Nice to be with you.
Good. I want to ask Bill a couple of questions. He's been here how many summers?
This is our 70th year.
70th year.
My 70th year. I've been here longer than anybody.
Okay.
I came to camp here in 1942 during the war.
Okay,
And nobody ever
1942.
got to go anyplace during the war because there was no transportation. You couldn't leave home. So I convinced my family to let me go to summer camp at Camp Idlewild on Lake Winnipesaukee when I was 10. And so I came up here for the summer. They came to visit me. They had relatives who had a place up here. Long story short, within 2 years, we were here. Next year, we came back to New Hampshire in 43, and they bought a house here in 48, and we've been here ever since.
So tell me just a little bit, when you first came here, I can't imagine, because this is relatively new for the church, what was it like back then?
Well, there was no church, and there were no members here. And after the first or second summer, my father called Salt Lake and said, give me the name of anybody who is a member of the church in the Lakes region, Laconia, Wolfeboro area. And they found one person, Rhea Guild, who was from Midway, Utah, I believe. And her husband was a non-member, and the two of them lived over in Guilford. So my father got a hold of Rhea, and we went over to see Rhea and her husband, and Larry, and we'd go over there and have Sunday dinner with them, and then we'd have a little lesson at night, and we'd kind of have a family home evening with the Giles. Eventually, the Laconia branch was established, but my dad and Rhea were the first two members of the church that I knew of at the time in 1945, 46, that were living here.
Now, your daughter jokingly said instead of the Church of Jesus Christ, it was the Church of Roast Beef. Can you comment on that?
Well, that's what we used to have in our home because there was no chapel here in Wolfeboro. We used to go to the Laconia Ward, the Laconia branch back then, but it was a long hike.
Okay.
So we objected to spending 45 minutes getting to Laconia and 45 minutes back on Sunday, so we began to have church in our own home with some of our neighbors who were members of the church who also came up here in the summer. And we could smell the roast beef cooking and the Yorkshire puddings coming up in the kitchen, and then we'd have a good lesson and have a great Sunday dinner.
So tell us about what some of the challenges are for missionary work in this region.
The church is getting better known up here. I think the temple in Boston, obviously Mitt Romney's running for president, has made a big difference in the knowledge people have about the church, and I think that's making a big difference up here.
Tell us a little bit about, so how long did it actually take for the church to just really start to get rolling?
Well, I can't really say the dates, but I know in the mid-40s there was nothing. And today
nothing.
There's a stake in Concord, obviously, and lots of wards and branches, and I don't know, probably a stake, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 people at this point.
Okay. Tell us a little bit, or what advice can you give people that move here in helping their neighbors get to know people in the community and reach out to others?
Well, I think participating in community activities is very important, and there's a lot of them up here. A lot of things going on. Tonight we're going to a community music performance by the BYU Idaho dance troupe, and that's a great thing for the church. A lot of people are coming out. They're not familiar with the church. They'll see these wonderful dancers, and they'll say, hey, maybe this church is pretty good after all.
Right. How do you feel that the town has responded to just the church overall since you've been here?
Oh, I think good. I think we have a beautiful chapel, and people see the chapel and realize that we're here to stay. And, everybody has their own religion up here pretty much, but they've had some nice converts and some new people come into the church up here, which has been very good.
What would you say, the church is obviously about strengthening families. How has that helped you with your own family?
Well, the church is an anchor in the storm, Everybody has trouble with their kids. I don't care who they are. And all our kids went on missions, all our boys, and our daughter's husband went on mission, and she and her husband went to Brussels as mission president. And so they've all grown up in the church. All my sons and the daughter have been married in the temple. And so the church has been a very, very important part of our life. We put the church and family first above everything else.